leaders, all sons and daughters. Thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
Now, you both kind of started down different roads originally. You became a worship leader, Leslie, when you were 16. What led to that? And I read somewhere that you were wrestling with the idea of kind of worshiping church, business, all that sort of thing. Can you explain further?
Yeah, absolutely. I played guitar. I started playing guitar when I was 9. And so I was in a youth group, and they said, well, since you play guitar, do you mind leading worship? I was like, I've never done that before. And they were like, you can do it. I was like, okay. So I started when I was a freshman in high school, and over the years, God just grew my passion for worship and for the church. And so the industry, I moved to Nashville when I went to college, and it was all around me. And I kept getting advice that, you know, if it wasn't something that you really felt led to do, that it was a really difficult path to take. And so I felt like God was really calling me to stay in the church, and so I did. And several years into it, I joined a staff church in Franklin, Tennessee called Journey, which is where David and I met. And so it was a crazy process for God to lead us into what we're doing now. And that's the only way that it happened, was God just opened some doors, and we kind of prayerfully walked through them. So.
And we're so happy God did open those doors. Great band. And you originally, David, you started with Need to Breathe and Into This, which is, you know, a really different thing. You guys have something very special going on. How do you keep the worship and the focus away from the business side of it now?
I think we get to serve long, like she said before, at a church in Franklin, Tennessee called Journey Church, and it's a special body, and our focus truly is there, and the songs that we write and the body that we get to live out life with is that church there. And so it's really easy to kind of stay focused on really the task at hand, which is to serve a church and to be a part of a body. And I think we're really, really lucky in the situation that we are in, just to be able to have a place who has given us the permission to come out and do things like this, and to go out to churches all over, and to continue to speak about the truth that we found in Christ through this community and through this body. And so we feel extremely blessed to have the situation that we have now.
Were you ever nervous or a little hesitant about losing that connection when, you know, you were presented with, let's get you on tour, let's get you on the road, let's make these records? Was that ever?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we first started, our pastor was actually like, hey, if this is something that God leads you to do, feel the freedom to go do it. And we said, hey, if we ever do, then we know it's the wrong season. So we actually asked him, like, make sure we stay tethered to the church, and we want that. We want that accountability and that relationship. And what we do on the road only makes sense because it's a part of our community at home. The songs we write are for that group of people, and we just get to share those stories and those songs with other churches, and which is amazing. But yeah, there was always hesitation, and even still we wrestle with the balance of being home and being on the road, and our families stay home, and we travel with other people from our church, and always want to respect that boundary and that balance. So it's, you know, it's a daily, weekly thing for us, but we surround ourselves with a great community of people that help us do that.
You wrote, will your grace run out if I let you down? And then, will you call me child if I tell you lies? These are so honest. That's an honest lyric. Others might be scared to write that, but it's connecting.
The truth is, we have a lot of questions left, and there are moments when we feel like, you know, is your grace enough for the mistakes I make and the choices I make? And so yeah, we try to stay as honest as possible in the music that we write, and not overthink it too much. So.
Now, you released season 1. You released an EP. You released a live album. When do we get season 2? Have you reached season 2 yet in your journey?
Yeah, I think we're walking through season 2 right now. We're currently writing for the next one, which we'll record in November, and then it'll come out next year sometime. But I mean, it's been been one of those things where it's been a roller coaster ride for us, just especially to see where our church has come from and to see where it is now, and kind of we talk in these seasons because we that's kind of how we talk at church. You know, we feel like we've come from this place of brokenness into this like beautiful like surrender and recognition of the freedom that God has given us, and so we're kind of moving into this place that we really don't know how to describe it, of celebration, of joy, and so we're kind of walking through that right now, and that's the season where our church is. And so as we write these songs, it's kind of like that's the outpouring of the new season of writing. And so we're really excited to be able to kind of share with the new season of where our church is.
Nashville, it's a very music-driven culture, and so Sunday mornings sometimes seemed a little bit more like, like people didn't want to come to church and sing, and so there was this, I think, hesitation to do that genuinely, and so we walked through a season the last couple of years of trying to discover what it looked like for our church to worship genuinely and authentically, and that's taken all different shapes. Singing is really just one of the ways we worship at Journey, and so it's been a beautiful process of healing and restoration and freedom and new life and the way we worship together, and it's been really beautiful.
So is it safe to say as long as the Journey needs more music, we'll also be getting more music?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's safe to say. I mean, I think we're finding out that more and more people are kind of wanting the permission to say some of these things that we have been given the permission to say. We feel very blessed with the church staff that we do have that allow us to ask these questions, and so when we get to go out and we get to do this at other churches, we get to stand alongside these other worship leaders, and some of these guys are going, man, this is my heart's cry at the same time. And so I mean, I think we just love creating music, and as long as we get to do this, we're happy to get to do it.
What advice would you have for worship leaders? They're in the trenches, they want to mold their church, they want to be there with them. What would you tell them?
I mean, the first thing that we always say is just dig into the community and the body there. One of the number one questions that we always get asked is, how do I write for our community? How do we write songs for this church specifically? And we always point people back towards the congregation, and it's like, if you're not involved with a small group or you're not involved in the community there and you don't know what's going on, you're never going to be able to write songs for your church body. So really making sure people are plugging in where they're serving and really digging in, because I know the thing is to do is, man, I'm serving so many times, like I don't have time to spend time with more people. And I know it takes out a lot, but at the same time, it's well worth it digging into the body, because we all need this community. We're going to need people to stand on and lean on when we need somebody. And so I think the biggest thing we always are pushing for is digging into community.
Question. You're both married but not to each other. How do your spouses feel of this union, this musical group, and you're touring and all that? Are they fine? Are they like, God be with you? And
yeah, it was when we first started, the four of us actually sat down together and talked about it and prayed through it, and we said this is a decision we make as families and not just me and David, and so that's been a part of the process all along. And actually just recently, my husband is a teacher, And so he was going to travel with us in the summer anyway, but we have some stuff we're doing in the fall that we needed some extra help on. And so he's actually going to come out on the road with us full time, which is amazing. And I actually was telling somebody, I was like, I didn't realize how lonely it got being the only girl on the road. And until he spent the last 3 weeks with us. And I was like, oh, yeah, like this is awesome. This is what it's like to have my best friend on the road. And so, but he's been incredibly supportive, and Natalie as well. And they've got a little one at home, so which is she's amazing, and it's always a blast to have families out as well. So,
well, this has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for the time. This has been Naomi Streamer with All Sons and Daughters.